I bought these fruit trees last fall and now is the perfect time to prune them. The only problem is that I am really scared to make that jump. Pruning is something that I have never done before, but I know how valuable it is. I need to get sharper pruners in order to make a clean cut. I need to go over the pruning technique that I plan on using, and I need to gain some confidence in myself in actually being able to do this properly. I also need to get over the fact that my trees are still in their pots. I won't be able to plant them till the spring, but now is the perfect time to prune them. So let's just hope that pruning the trees now and then planting them later won't be too much shock for these trees. I came across a book called Grow a Little Fruit Tree about 5 years ago. I bought the book and fell in love with the idea of growing a smaller, more manageable tree. Here in the high desert, we get some pretty intense winds in the spring, and this makes it more difficult for the fruit trees to grow because the wind will sometimes kill the tree or blow off all the blossoms, and then we don't get any fruit. So my hope is that a smaller, more stocky tree will be able to resist some of the winds that we get here. I also like the idea of being able to harvest or prune the fruit tree while I'm still standing on the ground and not having to use a stool or a ladder. Anyway, this goal requires some pretty aggressive pruning. So first, I will need to get some pruners. I found myself driving near our local nursery. I'm sure I could buy some pruners at some big box store, but I like supporting local and really like visiting garden nurseries. I gain inspiration and ideas every time I come here. So let's head in and see what they have. I met a really sweet lady here. It was so fun to chat garden talk with her. She suggested these pruners and I decided to give them a try. And I couldn't check out before taking a little walk around the greenhouses. They are warm and it's nice to see some green living things this time of year. I was cracking up when I watched this video. The rows and rows of strawberries felt never ending. On my way over to check out, I forgot to put my blinders on, and I got sidetracked. Some waterproof garden gloves would be nice, and why not? The kind lady I spoke to earlier had me pick up a complimentary set of bulbs. Before heading home, I wanted to see if their fruit trees were really kept outside. In my video of when I bought my trees, I asked the nursery worker if they kept their trees outside so I would know what to do with mine. Well, looks like they do. So I have read many books and I have done a lot of research on how to prune fruit trees in the way that I want to, but nothing quite prepared me for what it required to make that very first cut. I was terrified for this step because it just seems so against what you naturally want to do, is just let the tree grow and flourish and be big. But a tree needs to be pruned just like a puppy needs to be trained. So I had that deep in my heart, but it was still like hard to make that first just chop of the tree. For those who are curious about whether or not these trees are still alive, each tree is starting to form little buds, which is a good sign that they are living. I have been keeping my strawberry and fruit tree plants packed together on the south side of our rental to keep their roots from freezing so much that they get damaged. The first tree at the chopping block is Gage here. My kids wanted to name our trees and wanted to keep the names original to the tree. I scrutinized over Gage here for way too long before I finally came up with a plan and gave him a nice cut. And there it is, guys, my first ever pruning cut. I was taught to clean your pruners after each tree. This will help the spreading of disease that a tree may have. Next up is Alberta here. She had a few more lower branches to work with. If you keep seeing me put my knee up to the tree, that is for reference. I want the lower scaffold branches of my tree to be knee high. That is the key to having shorter, more manageable trees. If you want to see a more detailed plan behind my pruning technique, I will link that below. After that first cut, I began to become much more comfortable with what I was doing. I was actually starting to have fun with this process, and I look forward to doing it again in the summer. I wanted to make sure I would be able to keep track of the trees by keeping the labels on them. This is one of those things that you think you'll remember or you'll be able to tell when they start growing, but I have a feeling that that will not be the case. So it's worth it to put these tags back on here after I chop them off. Looking good, everybody! Loving all the haircuts. And this is all of the branches that I removed from the trees. Doesn't that just look so much better? Now all we had to do was give the trees and strawberry plants some water. I'm so glad I pruned these trees when I did, because that night it started to snow and it didn't stop snowing for the entire next day. We actually got so much snow. Some people don't like snow, but I love it. We need the snow for one, but it is also so much fun and extremely beautiful. There's nothing like untouched snow. It's like a soft blanket covering the ground. We probably got a good foot of snow. And here are our trees. This is literally the next day, so we had a ton of snow hit us all at once. We decided to do a quick drive over to our house to see if any progress had been made. Well, guys, the only change that we found was this. So not much to report on the house this week. I recently ordered a soil test in the mail. I really want to properly amend our soil before planting our garden as best as I can, and a soil test is really the best way to do that. Unfortunately, our soil is so wet. I'm not sure it would be a good time to do the test yet, so I'll keep you posted on that. I have been experimenting more with dehydrating and rehydrating food. This week I've been working with cauliflower. When dehydrating cauliflower, you can leave it in the floret form or you can powder it. I chose to dehydrate it while it was in the floret form, and then I ended up blending it later. But first, before you dehydrate your cauliflower, and this goes for several other veggies like broccoli, but you need to blanch it first, which is just by putting it in boiling water for a minute and then putting it in ice cold water so it cools down immediately. Then you'll need to dry it out very thoroughly before putting it in the dehydrator. I chose to put my dehydrated cauliflower in a blender and make it into a powder form. This is because I make a broccoli soup and it calls for a little bit of cauliflower. I have dehydrated broccoli and cauliflower now, and I'm wondering if I could dehydrate the broccoli and cauliflower in powder form and then just store it for whenever I want to make this soup, which would make the soup super easy to prepare. Today I wanted to see if dehydrated cauliflower would turn out well in this soup, so I rehydrated the cauliflower in a bowl of hot water, and it took about 5 minutes and it was fully rehydrated. I added it to my soup and it turned out amazing. I will keep experimenting with this in the future because I would really like to have some foods and soups on hand in dehydrated form. Thank you so much for watching. If you guys want to watch the video where we bought these fruit trees, go ahead and click here.